Now the latest ITV News Central with Bob Woolman and Samina Ali Khan.
Welcome to our programme. These are the headlines this Wednesday. The 92-year-old woman left bruised after being battered with a walking stick by another care home resident.
The head-on crash between a drunk van driver and the police car responding to an emergency.
The woman whose foot is now her knee, and the Birmingham surgeons behind the rare operation.
We turn the foot through 180 degrees so that it now acts functionally as a knee joint.
We've joined nearly 200 children with serious illnesses and disabilities here in Orlando in Florida for the trip of a lifetime.
Good evening. Surgeons in Birmingham have performed a rare operation on a young actress who had to have her leg amputated above the knee because of cancer. They've grafted her foot onto her back to front so that it now moves like a knee joint.
It means she can wear a prosthetic leg and continue her ambition to act. The lead surgeon told ITV News today that performing the operation to help her walk again brought a tear to his eye. Mark Goff reports.
Jordan Moody had to have her thigh removed because of cancer, but the rest of her leg was fine. So, surgeons moved the lower leg up and turned it 180 degrees. So now her foot acts and moves, just like a knee joint.
At first everything was backwards, obviously with my legs being turned around, even the feeling when I had an itch on my calf, I would automatically go around the back because my calf is normally around the back, and it took a while for my brain to even get used to that, but now everything's healed really, really well.
The operation was carried out at the Royal Orthopaedic Hospital in Birmingham, and it's rare. There are just 3 operations like this a year.
The foot has to be on back to front, which obviously gives it a very unusual appearance. But obviously if you think about your own foot, then if you were to put a prosthesis on that, it would bend the wrong way. So we turn the foot through 180 degrees so that it now acts functionally as a knee joint.
Jordan travelled from her home in Hull for the operation. Birmingham is one of the few places in the world which does it, and it's complicated, making sure the whole leg survives.
Basically you have to remove the whole thigh but keep the nerve intact, and then we plumb the blood vessels from the back of the knee back into the hip joint so that the lower part of the leg has a new blood supply. It's a very technical surgery. The whole foot stays on with the foot and ankle. We basically join the top of the shin bone to the very top part of the thigh bone just below the hip replacement, and we basically get those two to heal together as if it had been a fracture. I specifically went to Holland and India to learn how to do it.
It's been an emotional experience for Jordan and for her surgeon.
I want to just be able to get it to basically start to walk, and for the first time in a few years be able to get rid of my crutches and my wheelchair and things like that. Yeah.
It's amazing, it's I have to say it's the only operation that I do, and amongst some of the very big surgery I do, that still makes a tear in my eye at the end of every operation.
Mark Goff, ITV News, Birmingham.
Incredible surgery. Now, a motorist who was more than twice the legal drink-drive limit has been jailed for 2 years and 4 months after his van smashed into a police car responding to an emergency.
A court was told the police officer suffered life-changing injuries and may never return to frontline duties. Daryl Murphy reports.
CCTV captures the van travelling at speed before hitting a police car travelling in the opposite direction. Smoke comes from the tyres as the driver brakes hard as he weaves in and out of traffic without his lights on. This was the aftermath of the crash on the A34 Birchfield Road in the Aston area of Birmingham. Constable Arthur Kluznik suffered a broken leg and had to be cut free from the wreckage. He'd been responding to a 999 call. He may never return to frontline duties and can only walk small distances without suffering pain. The driver of the van, 28-year-old Stephen King, pleaded guilty to causing serious injury through dangerous driving, aggravated vehicle taking, drink driving and driving without a licence or insurance. Birmingham Crown Court was told he'd been banned from driving in 2012 for drink driving, but had taken the van from work without permission on the night of the crash. He was abusive to officers who attended the scene. He'd been driving at speeds of up to 80 miles an hour on a road with a 40 limit. The judge told King it was lucky no one was killed. Daryl Murphy, ITV News.
A 92-year-old woman is recovering in hospital after she was attacked at her care home in Smethwick. Hazel Sanders was struck repeatedly on the head, neck and hands with a walking stick by another resident at Carham Court in Smethwick.
Her daughter has criticised staff there, but the home's management insists there was nothing they could have done to prevent the attack. Callum Watkinson reports.
92-year-old Hazel Sanders did not suffer these injuries at the hands of a mugger or a burglar, but another resident at her care home, a man in his 80s, who attacked her with a walking stick. Hazel's daughter says that her mother is confused, frightened and very fragile. Mary Sanders is angry that the attacker is still living here and believes that this incident has been handled very badly. But the company that manages Carham Court here in Smethwick doesn't agree. In a statement, Minster Care Group said the incident happened in a corridor and staff were aware of it within seconds, coming to Mrs Sanders' aid and restraining the other resident. An ambulance was called immediately. We are satisfied that our staff reacted appropriately. The resident who attacked Hazel suffers with dementia himself. The police were notified immediately, but they aren't planning to bring any charges. Inquiries are currently ongoing, they said this afternoon. However, it is unlikely criminal charges would be brought given the circumstances. Hazel remains in hospital. Mary says she won't be returning here. A Care Quality Commission inspection in March found there are enough staff employed at Carham Court to meet people's needs and ensure their safety. Callum Watkinson, ITV News, Smethwick.
Now, when it comes to reaching their career potential, over a third of women say fear and a lack of confidence holds them back. 1 in 4 women in the Midlands also say they cannot afford to pay for extra training to help them.
Now, in a moment, we'll be hearing from Karen Brady, former Managing Director of Birmingham City and one of the most successful businesswomen in the country, about a new scheme that she's setting up to try to help females make it in the world of work. First, though, Jane Hesketh has been to a jobs fair to ask women about their aspirations.
This wasn't just a show about boys and their toys. The girls were getting in on the act as well. The need for more women in male-dominated industries like science, technology and engineering was one of the themes today. Ruby Holmes is an advanced technical apprentice at Rolls-Royce in Derby. She's just won a scholarship award from Jaguar Land Rover to support her career into engineering.
People are shocked when I do tell them that I'm an engineer. But when I explain what engineering is, they're not so shocked anymore. There are different things and activities that are going on all the time, trying to increase the number of women in engineering and to change what people think engineering is. It's not just for boys and it's not just getting dirty in a workshop.
A campaign group to support women in science and engineering, known as WISE, held a question and answer session today with female mentors. The idea was to dispel some of the myths and inspire them to build careers in these professions.
My mum encouraged me to do engineering and my school did help, but not many girls actually wanted to do it. I think you need to get them when they're young.
I think girls are a minority, so I think no, they're not encouraged as such, but in my case, my parents or my family, they allowed me to do whatever I wanted to.
You've only got to look around this room and see the role models that are here, the role models that are the female role models that are on the stands at the show, and you'll see these are young women who have retained their femininity, who are vibrant young women who you would aspire to be, but who also have those non-traditional careers and are achieving very well, have great success and are going forward to a very rewarding lifestyle from that particular career and profession.
Only 8% of engineers in this country are women, but WISE are hoping that their classroom to boardroom approach will inspire girls to become the scientists and engineers of the future. Jane Hesketh, ITV News, Derby.
And as we mentioned, Apprentice star and Midlands entrepreneur Karen Brady has launched a new fund today to help women reach their potential in the world of work.
Our reporter David Wood met the former managing director of Birmingham City a little bit earlier and asked her how it's all going to work.
Well, today I'm launching the Pan10 Shine Strong campaign. And that is a fund that's been set up to help women achieve the very best they can out of their career. When we undertook some research, 34% of women said that what's holding them back is confidence, and a further 19% said what's holding them back is having the money or the access to funding to pay for additional qualifications they might need to have the fullest career. So the £20,000 fund is open to all women to apply for a bursary, anything between £1,000 and £5,000 across 5 different categories to help them be the very best they can be, to give them that push. They're going to have some mentoring, there's going to be confidence building classes, and more importantly the cash to get the qualifications or to start a business.
You succeed in what is stereotypically a male industry. Would something like this back then when you first started out have helped you?
Definitely. I think I want to help all women achieve their full career potential, whether that's through the Shine Strong Fund, whether that's through making them just realise actually that you can do whatever you want to do if you're tenacious and you're ambitious.
Another area is engineering, where we see a huge number of men and so few women, and that's been the case for ages. A small fund isn't really going to help that though, is it?
Well, I think what changes those types of industries is attitude. When a young girl says, I want to be a painter and decorator, why should people say, well, that's an unusual career? And I think what we're doing more and more in schools is saying to young women in particular, there should be no barriers. You should be able to do whatever you want to do, and don't think about those industries as typically male dominated. If I take my own industry, football, which is traditionally very male dominated, the women running that business is over 50% at the highest possible level. And that's how we break down typical types of the women that work in these environments.
And over your career, do you think things are changing and will continue to change?
Things have definitely changed. Things have to still continue to change, and that's why we must never give up on pushing the issues that face women in the workplace, and how we help young women build their confidence, and how we make them believe that actually their career is in their hand and not anybody else's, and they have to take control of it.
Karen Brady, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That was David Wood with that report. Now, a controversial application for a Muslim cemetery on Greenbelt land near Solihull is expected to be rejected by the Borough Council. The company behind the 11-acre proposal say it's needed because of the area's growing Muslim population. However, residents against the plans say the site will be spoilt and will spoil the area.
CCTV footage has been released over a man police want to speak to after a man was stabbed 8 times in Birmingham. It happened outside Medway Tower Block in the Needshaw's area of the city on the 23rd of August. The man who police want to trace is seen here wearing a red cap. He went to the Tower Block with a friend, shown in the footage there. The 31-year-old victim spent several days in hospital but is continuing to make a full recovery.
And there are more stories on our website, including one mother's outrage after Facebook banned a picture of her breastfeeding her severely premature daughter for the first time. If you want to read more, then go to the website itv.com/central and you'll find the full story.